after a very, very, very long weekend. And you know, like they always say, it has been a very long weekend, but still, there are those who didn't go out. I mean, I wouldn't mention myself, but it's been a long weekend. So many people have gone home, and so many people also coming back. This is now the official, should I say the official Monday, or the official work day, the first day of the week, where people are now going to work. And trust me, it's going to be a short week. If you're a busy person, you're going to realize that it's going to be short because you're having technically one day less for the entire week. And it's a day that it's supposed to be a beautiful morning. It is a beautiful morning, but then again, the world is mourning the death of Pope Francis, after having led for 13 years with championing for peace, championing for inclusivity, championing for the vulnerable in the society. That is his legacy. And also, as KUTV, the Biashara Tuesday team, we also send our condolences, especially to our sisters and brothers from the Catholic community. That is a very huge loss, because this is someone who has been defending the weak in the society, something that is not so common with the leaders of our current nation. Because if we look, let's just take an example of what happens in our country today with our church leaders. You'll notice that most of them are only focused on improving themselves, so to say, and some of them are even fraud. They will con their church members. I heard a story about a pastor who is saying that there is someone, an investor from the United Kingdom, and he's supposed to release 5 million to the church, and so he's collecting money from the church members, and they're giving him 300,000 because he says that if you use money, you'll get money. So he's collecting about 2 million to get the amount. So you see, having a good leader who is focused on underprivileged, making their voices heard, ensuring peace, especially with his involvement in the Ukrainian nation, the fight with Israel, it is something that is not so hard of. We hope that for the next person who is going to sit on that seat, it's going to be even better. And now, that is just on what has been happening. It's been a long weekend, and you know what has been happening, the holy month in the Christian calendar, where Christ dies and then he rises again. And it's a moment where everyone is focused on praying and asking God to forgive their sins and all that. There are those who are committing their businesses during this holy month, so to say. And it is something that we should all embrace. I mean, having something to believe in, if you listen to all, not all of them, but if you listen to most billionaires and millionaires, they will tell you that something that keeps them moving is believing in God. I mean, they say it's God who has taken them that place. I don't know what you believe as a person, but believing in something that pushes your drive, that improves your mojo, it's something that is quite interesting. Now, that is in the world of a religion. Now, what has been happening in our world of politics also in this country? So our president is heading to China for a 5-day visit to the China nation. And it's a time when everyone, every time the president leaves the country, we as the government critics, because at the moment everyone is a government critic, we as the government critics are always questioning what is the relevance of that trip, what is the relevance of a 5-day trip to China. It's not the first time he's going there. Is he going there and coming back with loans, bagging loans, because we are having a budget that is under process, and currently the budget is far much beyond our income as a country. So is it a chance for the government to source for extra cash to finance our budget that we cannot sustain for ourselves, or that we cannot live within our means? Or is it just a tour? And every Kenyan will ask themselves, is this something that is also a wastage of our taxpayers' money? And someone will also say that why not use that amount and develop something in the country and pay our teachers and pay our doctors and pay our lecturers and even build a school. And that is something that I'm sure it's going to be in the mouths of most Kenyans, especially our political analysts in the opposition. that is a very hot topic that they will pick and run with it. It's also something that is of interest to the country right now. And also another thing that is of interest to the country, it is a time when everyone, we are approaching the end of April. We are almost in the middle of the second quarter of the year. Businesses are doing analysis of what they have accomplished so far. And if you're also a business person, this is a time to also look at what you've done, connect to your mentors, ask them to give you inputs on how you should better your business and all that. And also something very important, today is Earth Day. So it's a day where a conversation about the environment and the sustainability is a very important discussion. And I wouldn't promise you, but it is something that we need to talk about this morning, about tree planting, embracing clean energy, sustainable investments, where that is the discussion we had last week. So if you missed that, you can also go back, about having sustainable investments, how to get funding for such sustainable investments, how to maneuver your way into that, to get mentors into that, and how profitable is it to our current generation right now. For sustainable development or sustainable investment, it is something that most of the time we think that it's not that profitable. But if you look at it, most of the donors or most of those people, investors, they are willing to venture into that field, because it is something that it's not just business, it's something that brings hope, it's something that clears waste, it's something that we'd say it's sustainable, both in terms of the climate, in terms of employability and all that, and finances. So if you're looking for somewhere to venture, as we think about, or as we rethink, or as we, is it resonating with this Earth Day, it is something that as a potential investor, you should also consider, whether it's engaging in tree planting, whether it's engaging in selling renewable energy, or investing in electric vehicles that reduces the use of fossil fuels and burning of our fossil, including burning of our trees to get energy. That is something you should also consider as a potential investor. And also, still in the world of business, apart from the sustainable investment that we should consider talking about on this Earth Day, we should also consider talking about something that it's not, the other day I was talking to a potential investor, and he told me, not a potential investor, an economist, and he told me that sometimes it's not about how huge capital you have, it's about your strategy, it's about the people who come into your business. So as you try to venture into any business of your choice, you might have the capital, you might have the personnel and everything, but what matters most is how are you selling? Is your business bringing income? Because you might have a very huge space, but with zero or minimal clients that take you a long time for your returns to that investment. So that is it. And also, you should also stay tuned for what is coming after in our subsequent during this broadcast. We'll be having newspaper review, and we'll be looking about everything that I've mentioned here on this introduction. We will be looking at the state of our nation, what we should expect in the country for the past 7 days, what transpired in the country, its implication to you as a business person, its implication to you as a Kenyan. That's what we'll be looking at in our newspaper review that is coming next after a short while. I will be having discussions right here, and I will be joined by our very own Ojwang Mariam, and also will be joined by Weru Jeremiah, who is a very good analyst, both in the political space and in governance space. So we'll be looking at everything that is shaping our nation as we speak at the moment, as even as we gear towards the 2027 election. All these jitters, who should lead us? Is it Matiang'i? Should we give Ruto a 2-term? Why are leaders who are allied to the president now opposing him? And even some of them, I wouldn't mention them names, but some of them are even saying that President Ruto is a 2-term president, yes, but 1 term will be in State House, the next time will be in committee. So why is this sudden shift where leaders who are into government, why are they now opposing the government? What is not happening? Is it because of the ODM members joining the UDA party, and now there is no space left for them, and now that is due to frustration? Or is it just a way another political way of dividing our votes in this country, especially the Gen Z votes or the youth's votes, because most of these leaders who are coming from the government, they're coming from the government and forming their political parties, and their manifestos or what they build on is youth inclusivity. So is it something that we should be raising our eyebrows and thinking that, is it really that they are now aware of what has been happening in the government and they're looking for ways to solve that? So those are among the issues that we're going to be discussing. Of course, we'll also pay tribute to Pope Francis for his death. That is also coming up later on during this coverage this morning. And also, just to take a quick look at our dailies, on the business daily, we have why equity, KCB must sell 30% DRC stakes. That is a story that we shall look at. And also they've given prominence to Pope Francis, his death, and that is on Business Daily. On the Daily Nation, they have given prominence to Pope Francis, paying tribute to him. On the People Daily, we have the People's Pope also paying tribute to Pope Francis. And on the Financial Standard, Kilifi gas plant shrugs off court ban safety fears. There's this in Kilifi, and there's also, was it in Nairobi, where there is illegal sale of gas and illegal sale of gas to that place and the surrounding. I'll confirm to you just before we get into this discussion, and we'll also be looking about all that and why these gas plants, why are we having all these frauds? Is it something that is controlled by private entities, or is it something that we should also be keen on, because the government is looking at it and not doing a thing? And the Standard, they've also given prominence to goodbyes to Pope Buriani Adios. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but they've also given prominence to the demise of Pope Francis, who is called the People's Pope. So quite much packed up. But before we get into any of that, let's take a look at what is happening on our roads and the weather situation. Now, it is technically the first day of the week, and most people are going back to work. Right now, it is 7:51, and most people are really going to work. But if I look at the traffic situation, it is, by the time I was getting into this place, it was not that heavy. Let's begin with where we are, because Sisi took Thika Road. And just as expected, Thika Road is always as expected. That is from Survey through KCA, through Muthaiga, Ngara, and all the way to to Ngara through Muthaiga interchange. And this also applies to those coming from Kiambu Road. Your road is quite packed at the moment. So if you can use other alternatives to town, good for you. That will work for you. And also those who are using who are going through Westlands, through Parklands, Westlands, going to join through to Mombasa Road. That place is the road is also, there are quite snarl-ups. Those using that road, those people using Limuru Road to Muthaiga, that is through Village Market. Those going to town through that route, your road is also packed. And another thing that is quite interesting, today, Outer Ring Road, it's quite clear. I'm seeing green all over Outer Ring Road, and it's shocking. When people are not going back to work, those people who live around Huruma, Juja Road, those areas, you guys are not going to work. You're having long holidays and working from home, because normally at this time, the road is always packed. But on the contrary, those using Jogoo Road through Makadara, through Gikomba Market, entering town, the road is quite packed. And also those using Eastern Bypass, that is going through Embakasi Junction, joining Outer Ring Road, and also those joining through to Mombasa Road, your road is also not that packed, but it's I'll say it's moving, but there's tiny bits of red, stretches of red and yellow mixed all together. And also looking at Southern Bypass at the interchange joining Langata Road, those coming to town using that road, your road is quite packed this morning. Not that packed because it's moving. The red is only along the Southern Bypass, joining through the interchange. Those using Long Road, your road is quite fine this morning. Tiny bits of red, but lots of yellow and green. So your road is quite okay. Those using Mombasa, not Mombasa Road, those using, Mombasa Road and the expressway, it's quite clear this morning, as not expected because most people are going back to work. Remember, it's like a Monday today. So your roads are quite okay. So that's just the general outlook of those people joining town. That is joining Nairobi CBD this morning. Most roads are quite okay, except those using Thika Road from Survey to Ngara through KCA, and those using Kiambu Road joining through Muthaiga Interchange, the Eastern Bypass, and the Southern Bypass at the interchange joining Langata Road just before the interchange. Those are the roads that are having traffic this morning. Otherwise, the other roads are looking quite fine. And before you get to those places, if you can use other alternatives, that will be good for you. Now, just a quick one on the weather situation right now. We are in Kiambu. Ruiru is Kiambu. Kenyatta University is in Kiambu. There's a confusion if Kenyatta University is in Kiambu or it's in Nairobi. But I'm being told that Kenyatta University is in Nairobi. So let's just take a look at what is happening in Kiambu. Right now, it is it is 18 degrees Celsius and it feels like 10 degrees Celsius, really cold. And we are expecting rains. This is at 90%, that is the chances of rainfall increases from 10 a.m. this morning going forward through the day, and the peak is at 1 p.m. where there is 90% chances of rainfall. I don't know if today we should trust this, but that is what the weatherman says this morning. And Nairobi, because Ruiru is in Kiambu, and now in Nairobi we are separated by roads, so we have to do both of them. It is 17 degrees Celsius, feels like 9 degrees Celsius. That is at Nairobi Central Business District. And chances of rainfall, there is also 90% chances of rainfall all the way to 1 p.m. There is increasing chances of rainfall as the day goes by. That is on Nairobi. And just a real quick one, I will be looking at only one city. What were Eldoret? Please don't come for me. Kisumu City, it's now 20 degrees Celsius, feels like 13 degrees Celsius. They're also having a fair share of their, for them, it's a bit sunny today. And the temperatures are increasing gradually through 1 p.m. It's at 27 degrees Celsius, increasing throughout the day. So that is on the cities of this country, the traffic situation and the weather situation at the major towns of this country. Now we are taking a very short break, and after this break we'll be coming back with news updates.
My name is Jakub Petri. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. And I'm the main coordinator of the Cafe project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more
napigwa na mawimbi makali sana ya baharini kutoka katika ufuo wa hoteli moja inayofahamika kama North Coast Beach Hotel, ambao ndio wadhamini wa kipindi hiki cha mitindo ya kipwani. Penzi mtazamaji, kwenye mitindo ya kipwani hutakosa kupata mapishi ya vyakula vya kipwani. Yaani hapa tunazungumzia vyakula vilivyokolezwa na kukorombezwa. Iliki, karafuu, abdalasini, samaki wa baharini, vyakula vilivyopikwa na kusukwa kwa kutumia nazi. Bila kusahau mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja, mazungumzo ya kusisimua na wataalam tofauti, waandishi wa vitabu waliobobea, watunzi wa kuhani mashairi. Bila kusahau mpenzi mtazamaji, taratibu zetu za taarabu na chakacha. Yaani pale ni pale ambapo viuno vya wanawake vinazungushwa kisawasawa kama panga boy za trekta ndani ya KUTV mitindo ya kipwani. Ukiwa nami na hodha wako Waridi Tamu. Usiakose matamu jamani.
Now, I promised you that after this break, we're going to have news updates. And this is ranging from a variety of topics, but will also include the Pope Francis' death and many other stories. And we'll get right into it because, and we'll begin with the first story of Pope Francis and his death as the world is mourning his loss. Born as George Mario Bergoglio, who passed away yesterday in Vatican's Casa Santa Marta at the Catholic Church, during which he will be remembered by millions across the world, especially as a beacon of compassion, humility, and spiritual courage. Now, here is the story. Early Monday morning of the 21st April 2025 East African time, the world lost the notable head of the Catholic Church. Pope Francis passed away in Vatican's Casa Santa Marta at the age of 88. He succumbed to complications from double pneumonia after battling multiple health challenges, including respiratory infections and kidney issues in recent months. Despite showing signs of recovery earlier this month, his condition worsened following his final public appearance on Easter Sunday. Elected in 2013, Pope Francis was the first Jesuit and the first Latin American to lead the Catholic Church. His papacy was marked by his emphasis on humility, inclusivity, and addressing global challenges such as poverty and climate change. World leaders have expressed their condolences. This includes President William Ruto, who described Pope Francis' passing as a big loss to the Christian world, citing his unwavering commitment to justice. French President Emmanuel Macron praised his humility and dedication to the vulnerable. King Charles III and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer lauded his compassion and unity efforts. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky highlighted the Pope's ability to foster hope and unity during times of hardship. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu, on the other hand, called him a champion of the underprivileged and a beacon of hope for millions. Church bells rang globally, and several nations declared official mourning periods. The Pope's passing sets in motion the traditional mourning period, after which the College of Cardinals will convene to elect his successor. With Pope Francis' progressive leadership leaving a lasting imprint, the Catholic Church faces significant decisions about its future direction. Anyango Sylvia, KUTV. Now, the late Pope Francis was the 266th and the first Jesuit Pope of the Catholic Church, and he was elected Bishop of the Catholic Church, serving from 2013 to 2025. Born as George Mario Bergoglio, he was elected Bishop of Rome and absolute sovereign of Vatican City after Pope Benedict XVI historic voluntary resignation in over 600 years. And this story is brought to us by our very own James Baraka, who narrates Francis was the first Pope of the Catholic Church from South America, with the papacy of being marked as by a focus on compassion, dialogue, and inclusivity.
Many knew him as Pope Francis, However, upon his birth on December 17, 1936, as the eldest of 5 children in Buenos Aires, Argentina, he was named George Mario Bergoglio. Against the norm, when he was elected Pope on March 13, 2013 at his 70s, just 2 weeks after his predecessor Pope Benedict XVI voluntarily resigned, Pope Francis chose a name that had never been used by any previous pope, a choice widely believed to reflect his intent to follow in the spirit of St. Francis of Assisi. In 2013, history was made when Pope Francis was announced as the leader of the Catholic Church, becoming the first pope from South America and the first from the Jesuits. Before becoming Pope, Bergoglio was the Cardinal of Buenos Aires and was known for his unique approach to various social issues. During his papacy, Pope Francis gained both the support of conservatives due to his cultural views and also became popular among reformists for his stance on various matters. Pope Francis' leadership was characterized by commitment to social justice and his support for the marginalized and the less fortunate, while his early life was marked by simplicity and dedication to his faith. In his youth, he pursued normal jobs and was a strong supporter of his local soccer club, a passion he maintained long after becoming a priest in 1969. However, his papacy was not without challenges, as some of Pope Francis' reforms within the Vatican bureaucracy faced significant opposition, particularly from conservative functions within the church, who felt he was going against traditional teachings. May the Almighty God rest the soul of Pope Francis in eternal peace. James Baraka for KUTV.
Indeed, may the Lord rest his soul in eternal peace, because it is quite unfortunate, and we'd say he's been battling pneumonia for a long time, and we'd say the Lord decided that it's time for him to rest. May the Christian faithful across the world, especially the Catholics, find peace in the Lord following this tragic death. Now, moving on, rescue operations have been intensified in the search of the remaining 2 Kenyans who were trapped under the rubble of a sunken sewage system after a structure where they were watching football caved in at Bamburi Mwisho Nyali constituency. Speaking while confirming the incident, Mombasa County Chief Officer for Disaster stated that the families of the 2 missing individuals will have to wait a little bit longer to know the fate of their loved ones as the county county requests for additional equipment to aid in the recovery of their trapped kin.
Rescue efforts are ongoing in Bamburi Mwisho Nyali sub-county following the collapse of a makeshift video cafe into a 120-foot deep septic tank that was built more than 4 decades ago. The incident occurred on Sunday evening as dozens of football fans gathered at the video cafe to watch an English Premier League match. Mombasa County Chief Fire Officer Ibrahim Basafa has confirmed that only 2 bodies were still inside the septic tank, contrary to earlier reports that suggested up to 4 people were trapped. One of those initially thought to be missing was later found safe at a nearby eatery and helped clarify the number of victims.
First initial report was 4. But then we confirmed even the third one who alikuwa ameambiwa tukampata hapa hoteli anakula maharagwe na chapati. Akasema mimi ile uoga hata nilikimbia nikaenda nikakaa maana ile fukurumu nimekaa wala chapati hapo. So the other one also took off. Then we concluded that the only bodies ambazo ziko pale ndani ni 2.
The 2 confirmed victims are Abdul Aziz Abdallah and unidentified Matatu Tout, whose family is yet to come forward. Both had gone to the cafe to watch the football match when the floor suddenly gave way, plunging them into the tank below.
This septic tank has been here for the last 40 years, and it's not possible for the government to know that mahali kama hapa ambao there is a history of over 60 years that there is a septic tank beneath the video show.
Mwenyezi Mungu tu ape nguvu
Ajalie kila laheri zoezi hili, Mwenyezi Mungu asonge karibu. Wanapofanya zoezi hili kusiwa na pingamizi yoyote, wapatikane kwa wakati na masaa ambapo Mwenyezi Mungu mwenyewe ambapo atajalia. Wanapopatikana pia ukuwe na uwezo, Mwenyezi Mungu atupe nguvu tukawastiri. Hii ni mitihani na mitihani hii hufika kila mmoja.
The area has been cordoned off and the county government is urging residents to cooperate and exercise patience as investigations continue into the illegal construction and lack of safety approvals that led to this tragedy. Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
Now, concerns have been raised about a passenger safety after a lady was dragged on a Marsh Poor bus from Nairobi to Mombasa. Delila Koth Omondi was on her way to Mombasa from Nairobi when she was allegedly dragged by a fellow male traveler and her possessions stolen. Ms. Delilah claims she was dragged and sexually assaulted. Delilah states that she regained her consciousness in the hospital without her underwear or socks. Despite the incident being reported to the police, the bus company's management claims it does not have any information about the customer who was sitting next to her. The event has since raised alarm among passengers who are fond of traveling using the bus company.
When we got to Mtito Andei, he got off the bus. I remained in the bus because normally when I travel, unless I need to use the toilet, I do not leave the bus. So he left and then as the bus was almost leaving, I could see him outside na vikombe viwili akipoesha chai. So akapoesha chai and then when the bus, and then he entered as the bus started moving. So alipofika karibu na pale nimeketi, mikono yake ilikuwa ina shake. So as it was shaking, he was pouring the tea on me, on my hands. Then he asked me, nimshikie ndio aweze kuketi. I held the cups, he sat down, and then when I wanted to hand them back, kaniambia ngojea kidogo, sijui nichukue, sijui bag, sijui nifanye nini, sijui niweke tablet. Then he took a bit longer. So nikachukua tu hizo vikombe nikamwekea hapo karibu na yeye. And then after that I turned to look at the window and that was it. The next time I woke up on Wednesday at Coast General. I woke up, found 3 of my friends in hospital with me. Now when I was checking my clothes, I realized my underwear was not there. So now I started trying to find out like, okay, where is my underwear? Who has my underwear? And so now I started trying to follow up with my friends like, Mulini, did you find me with an underwear? Was I with an underwear? Because I know I wore an underwear and a panty liner.
Now that is quite unfortunate incident, but we hope she gets justice. Now youths in Embu have been urged to prioritize their mental well-being and shun drug and substance abuse following the death of a middle-aged man by way of suicide. The deceased family, however, stated that while their kin had struggled with alcohol, there were no clear symptoms that he was suffering emotionally in the days preceding up to his death.
Nimeamka asubuhi kufanya kazi yangu ndo nikasikia hii mambo kutokea, nikaja hapa kwa Irene na nikapata kijana wake tunamuitanga Benjadi amejihang. Hiyo kitendo imefanya tukue na huzuni sana, juu si kitu ya kawaida kwa vijana, na tena vijana wa huku tuseme wanahitaji kazi juu wale wengi wamepoteza kazi zao, wanakaa idle. So tunaweza omba kama sisi wakaji wa huku vijana wetu wapate kazi.
Huyu amefa hapa ni bradhangu mkubwa kuniliko. So asubuhi tumempata amejiang. Alikuwa hana maneno mingi, alikuwa kijana wa kujitafutia. So ni huzuni tu hapa.
Naomba tu kama serikali waweza kutusaidia kwa counseling ya wa vijana, kwa maana inaonekana kuko na shida mingi sana ya vijana. Ukosefu wa kazi imefanya vijana wakae tu hivyo, kwa maana shida ya kazi imekuwa shida kubwa sana kwa vijana.
Now, let's get a little bit of politics. Embu Senator Alexander Mundigi has poured cold water on former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i's alleged ambition to vie for presidency, asking him to first settle internal divisions in his home county of Nyamira. The senator also warned against early political campaigns, stating that the country should stay focused on growth.
Tumesikia ambaye alikuwa wasiri ambaye wa security ambaye ni Mr. Matiang'i amerudi Kenya na watu ni kama wameanza siasa mapema. Ningeomba Mr. Matiang'i, na Matiang'i ametoka county inaitwa Nyamira County. Wa hiyo county ambaye parliament ya county ya Nyamira sahi wamekuwa kipigana, kuna mgawanyiko mkubwa sana. Kama anataka mambo ya siasa vizuri na watu wamheshimu, ningemuomba aende kwa ile county ya Nyamira. Imekuwa na vita ya MCA na governor juu ya uporanji wa pesa. Aende pale, kitu ya kwanza aunganishe wale, na pia arundishe ile MCA pamoja, kwa sababu sahi kuko parliament mbili katika ile county. Pia hata hiyo kaunti ya Nyamira na kaunti ya Kisii simekuwa sikitengana kwa mpaka kupigana, ni kama watu wanja leto pamoja. Kwa hiyo ningemuomba before akuje aongee mambo ya siasa, aende aunganishe zile kaunti mbili. Saa hii si wakati wa siasa, kwa hivyo kwanza anjaribu hiyo.
Now, with President William Ruto's state visit to China aimed at bolstering bilateral ties, Catholic Archbishop Martin Kivuva of Mombasa issued an appeal to the government to prioritize responsible borrowing to avert a debt crisis and foster political tolerance to safeguard national unity. The cleric's Easter message also spotlighted corruption, youth exploitation, and the ethical dimension of organ donation.
Archbishop Martin Kivuva of Holy Ghost Cathedral in Mombasa Easter message struck a code of fiscal responsibility, urging the government to adhere to debt ceilings to prevent overburdening taxpayers.
Deni letu na nchi nyinginezo nje ya Kenya, deni what we call the national debt, inasemekana imepita kipimo za uzito kwa wale unaoishi nao, na hasa Mkenya anayetozwa ushuru, kwa sababu hayo ni lazima yalipike. The challenge is, mzigo huu utamlemea nani baadaye? Mzigo huu utaleta anayechukua hatamu mwishoni atafanyani na hizi tuite mikopo ambayo imezidi kipimo.
Amid rising political tensions, the Archbishop decried self-serving leadership and violence. He specifically cautioned youth against being weaponized for political chaos.
Tuhimize na tuwachongoe wale wanaoleta vijana ambao wanalipwa kuleta mafarakano katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, katika kupigana mahali pengine, katika kubomoleana manyumba, wanalipwa kumpiga mwanasiasa fulani. This is not the way a country will grow in peace and harmony.
On corruption, Kivuva blamed greed, vowing to relentlessly condemn the vice. He also addressed organ trafficking, clarifying that posthumous donation through legal wills are ethical but coercing the vulnerable is unacceptable.
Wao wanatafuta mali, wanauzia mteja. Wewe ufanyavyo na viungo vyako shauri yako. Hili alikubaliki kwetu, naamini hivyo. But as an individual, you can say at the end of my life, when I'm passing on and I'm going to have life no more, my heart can be used by somebody else. Na hiyo inakubalika. Au my kidneys can be used by somebody else. Lakini za kunyakua watu vijana au watu wazima au watoto barabarani na kuwapeleka kuchukua wengine hufa, wengine tumeona juzi wakiongea kwenye runinga fulani kwamba aliambiwa auze, na alipouza hata hakulipwa hela zote.
The Archbishop's call comes as President Ruto's China visit seeks economic partnerships, raising questions about debt sustainability. Meanwhile, Kivuva's emphasis on environmental conservation and aiding the marginalized underscored his holistic vision for national progress.
Sitasimama maovu ya kitawala.
Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
Now, a group of clergy in Narok defended President William Ruto's administration and advocated for reduction in social media abuses against the government. The church officials, led by African Independent Pentecostal Church of Africa, AIPCA, Bishop Narok Diocese Dixon Olenkoitiko, have stated that the church supports any government in power but will not push followers to vote a certain way.
Let us not misuse the office of the presidency. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kwa ajili kila mamlaka, every office is set up by God. It is God who sets up the officers. Every office, ile ofisi ambayo iko, maandiko katika Warumi 11 inasema kwamba kila mamlaka iliyoko ni ile iliyoko na Mungu. Na kama that office, ile ofisi goes through storms. Hata kama yule aliyeko haumpendi, hakupendezi, kuna siku ambayo itafika, and by the power of the vote you are going to remove it. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Unaondoa kwa power of what? Of the vote. Sio kila kwamba dunia tunamuondoa kwa kelele, kwa matusi, bali ukidusi ofisi, hata yule wewe mwenyewe ukamweka, atatusiwa.
Now, still on this show, we've talked about how the church is involved in the political aspects of this country. More than once, we've also said that this country is led by our constitution, and it's a non-religious state. So, is it a form of manipulation? You know, Mole is asking questions which you are supposed to give answers to. Is it a form of manipulation? Is it the reason why most people are leaving the church and saying we left the church but we didn't leave God? Because you go to church and everything is about politics. You're mad about the president not working, but your pastor, who you're supposed to trust, is telling you that, you know what, you are wrong. You're not supposed to hate that man. So is it a form of manipulation? Should we consider church being politically turned or tuned to support the government? Now that is just a by the way. Now moving on, President William Ruto has made it clear that Kenyan taxes will continue to be used in a legal and transparent manner, stating that the implementation of government agendas and programs will be carried out through the e-Citizen platform network to help eliminate corruption in government offices. President Ruto continued to defend his coalition government, urging Kenyans not to be misled by corrupt leaders with no conscience in the government, as their goal is to destroy the balance in the government.
Rasilimali tuliopatiwa ya wananchi wa Kenya lazima itumike kwa njia ya sawasawa, kwa njia ambayo kuna uwajibikaji. All the resources that are made available to us by the people of Kenya through their taxes must be spent in a transparent, accountable manner. I want to ask Parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate, to carefully consider the memorandum I have sent to them on making sure that we stop conflict of interest that undermines the delivery and provision of public service. We are working hard to unite the people of Kenya, and that is why I am proud that my friend Raila Odinga and myself and all our parties are working together.
Now moving on away from church and politics, in efforts to promote environmental awareness among marginalized communities, the Progressive Welfare Association of Malindi, PWAM, in collaboration with the Kenya Wildlife Service during the Easter weekend, facilitated an educational tour of the Malindi Marine National Park, where over 20 residents from the Malindi dam site got a chance to experience the park while learning more. Take a look.
Over 20 residents from the Malindi dam site during the ongoing Easter weekend were taken on a surprise educational tour of the Malindi Marine National Park. The trip, organized by the Progressive Welfare Association of Malindi in collaboration with the Kenya Wildlife Service, aims to promote environmental awareness among marginalized communities. The group group, which included children, boarded glass-bottom boats and traveled to one of the park's disappearing islands under the guidance of KWS officers and boat operators. The children were able to swim and snorkel in controlled and safe environment.
We are happy that the kids are coming up with conservation minds, and it's our duty as conservationists to ensure that we nurture them so that they can protect the tourism attractions which we have here for both national and international tourists, so that we can also grow our revenue base as a country in terms of tourism revenues.
The Malindi Marine National Park, established in 1968 and later designated a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve in 1979, is known for its coral garden, fringing reefs and diverse marine life. The residents that benefited noted that the trip helped them understand the value of a clean and protected environment.
We have a mixture of the different habitats and the different species which are available in the marine protected area, which make it a unique that you can see all the different species and the habitats within the same area where one visits.
The event also brought together conservation stakeholders, students and members of the local community. Notably present was IOC member and National Olympic Committee of Kenya President Dr. Paul Tergat, who encouraged the children to pursue their dreams regardless of their background.
They live here, they know this is the marine park, but they cannot afford to go to the marine park, and they don't feel like they're part of a society, like it happens everywhere in the world. When you have vulnerable people, when you have people who are marginalized, they feel a bit removed or rejected by a society. So this is also part of integration, because they are actually diverting, as much as they live in the dump site, they are doing a lot of work. They are the main people who are segregating. They also, they go to school, they walk to school, and when they walk to school, the schools are not anywhere near, and they come and look for the food from the dump site. So this the experience is that you can achieve anything in the world.
The Progressive Welfare Association of Malindi chairperson Kate Mwikali said the initiative aimed to include the dump site community in conservation efforts and offer them access to public resources often out of reach due to economic barriers. Yvonne Kemoma, KUTV.
Now let's talk about how government officials are really telling us secrets we didn't know about. Game Legislature Elisha Odhiambo accused Siaya Governor James Orengo of shooting from both sides of the mouth in his alleged criticism of the broad-based government. According to Odhiambo, the governor was insincere and was playing deceptive politics aimed at endearing himself to the public while doing the opposite while with top government officials. Speaking outside St. Peter Cleves Catholic Church in Yala after attending Easter Mass, the Member of Parliament took a swipe at Orengo for using the burial of former Prime Minister's aide last weekend at Rarieda sub-county to hold bail at government.
I was taken aback last Friday by the governor utterances. Us as a community, we have embraced broad-based government, and we are not moving out of government. If anybody wants to be in opposition, they better join Wamunyoro in Nyeri. That's where the opposition headquarters is. As a community, we want to benefit from this government so that we are paid back for the years that we have not benefited in all the governments that have been in this country. The governor castigated government while addressing mourners. When the president comes to mourn our people, it is important that decorum and respect is exercised and restraint is exercised.
Now, this country is a very interesting country because of the generalization. I'm from the Nyanza region and I don't relate to the us. I'm not in government. Why is he saying us? Anyway, tea farmers have called on the government to make reforms in the tea sector, changes that will help them benefit from their agricultural practice. Speaking in Kanyani area during the 10th anniversary of the Muranga Fair Trade Organization, the farmers said that if the reforms are implemented, it will help them earn their income in time and that they will be able to invest in the profits they earn.
Serikali yetu ni tusaidie sana
tuongezea miradi na kusaidia mambo ya majani. Watu angalilie sana, tunaweza tufurahie tukiona tunapata kitu kwa mifuko yetu. Tunataka tuone kama sisi ni wakulima na tunapata kitu.
We want to put structures that are farmers friendly. Let's not bring personal interest. Let's not bring infights in this. Let's concentrate to make sure we give ideas that will help our farmers to earn and make more out of their farming.
We have witnesses where farmers now are producing tea. But because of the anticipated reforms, I would urge them even to continue more planting. And for those who have neglected them, they go back to their farms and ensure that their farms are okay and they are productive.
Now Easter season, and from Good Friday we wait for 3 days. Welcome to By the Way, the only show where we carry our own crosses, not in silence, but with a side of sarcasm, a splash of satire. So as we march towards our very own Golgotha through portals, promises and press conferences, we invite you to launch with us. Because in this republic, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, then get taxed for tears. Judas might have only sold out once, but ours are on a payment plan.
To be born, you are born without your cooperation. But to live well and to survive well and even to die and to be saved, you have to cooperate with the Creator God.
It is the Easter season, by the way.
Ng'ombe inateleza na iko na miguu nne. How about binadamu?
Sit and watch the drama and enjoy.
There's no one who is clean in this house, including myself. We are all mistakes.
Because Christ himself was a youth that way. Yeah. He was very revolutionary.
He died before he even corrected all the mistakes.
The minority leader.
The speaker, you cannot skin a monkey when he's looking at you.
The woman who walks on fox without shoes was making major moves.
Every politician who has failed, every civil servant who has failed, every person who has failed is being dumped in a certain mission somewhere in the world.
Wooing the red heart lady.
Mushomba is an iron lady. I can't withstand Mushomba out of office. If she's so strong now when she's in office, what do you think she can do when she's out of office? She can run us out of this town. So we must create for her some diplomatic posting in charge of Githunguri,
who was having none of it.
I am a beautiful, intelligent woman who have shown them dust in the political corridors.
And like a lava scorned.
I am happy that the majority leader is talking about me. Yet on Saturday, in a public forum where the president visited Githunguri, he could not show his face. He disappeared.
The tables turned.
International relations and national relations, Mr. Speaker. The undisputed kingpin of Kiambu County is Honorable Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah. Mr. Speaker, that I must put on record.
Order.
And quite a cross to bear.
In our culture, lightning doesn't strike twice. So we don't want to strike this lady just like we struck the other lady.
On the other end,
Your Excellency, there were so many characters, noises.
A builder.
I like making reference to the building of the wall. Nehemiah, had been assigned.
Churches, he will build.
And you know what? I will be leading from the front.
This cross, he was eager to carry.
There is no broad-based on this one. There is no broad-based.
Whether you like it or not.
Never did this. This thing started with the Jubilee. This is of recycling people like the way you recycle Dandora West.
Elsewhere,
watu wako na uoga.
The new sheriff in town had a new ride. Tall and powerful, Ruku was rooking good in the station.
As customers,
Mbere may have to carry its own cross.
Raisi alikuwa amenipatia jukumu, lazima nihakikishe kwamba inafanyika.
This may cost you.
Pay the price if there is any to be paid.
Sifuna.
Yeah, what are the results? Arsenal by some fluke scored 3 goals inexplicably. So.
You may have to be careful about who you sifu.
Ukiwa ukitaka siasa, fanya na adults, usiende kwa watoto. Shanzi sana.
Or you may also have a cross to bear.
Bila kurushiana maneno, if we have kurushiana kitu, turushe maendeleo ambayo itaonekana na isaidie wananchi.
Harun,
hatutakubali my friend, hatutakubali rafiki. Aibu, hawana aibu.
Now from by the way to sports, coaches from 6 counties, that is Nairobi, Machakos, Kitui, Makueni, Kajiado and Kiambu have completed 7-day intensive training at Kwantanze Secondary School, courtesy of the Kenya Academy of Sports. The program focused on enhancing coaching skills in rugby, soccer, volleyball, basketball, athletics, and hockey. Over 230 teachers participated, aiming to elevate school sports standard. Experts from FKF, Kenya Rugby Union, and other federations led the sessions. CAS Grace Mitambo praised the initiative, noting its impact on nurturing talent from the grassroots to national and international levels.
As the Kenya Academy of Sports, we have a mandate in terms of training of technical personnel in sports, and we have been doing a lot of talent identification through the school programs, through the school games, and through that we realize that this talent does not just come. It has been grown by a teacher somewhere from grassroots, and therefore it is our mandate to help instill some great skills in these teachers.
I'm here to learn more of coaching in hockey and ensure that we start teaching and coaching our learners so that once they are grown-ups, they can continue improving and getting to understand the fundamentals of our games.
With this kind of skills imparted in this place, the standard of rugby will really improve a great deal in different schools. People who are here, the teachers who are here, they come from all corners of the country.
And that there is very important because we've had the wrangles brought about by echoes of war, where trainers of students need to have TSC numbers. So it's quite important for teachers to embrace training and various co-curricular activities so we don't have such scenarios going on in our country. Now, the 5th edition of the Busia Cross-Border Marathon saw youths in the county encouraged to embrace sports not only for their physical well-being, but also as a pathway to national development. The event held at the Busia Polytechnic grounds attracted hundreds of young athletes who participated with vigor and hope for a brighter future.
The 5th edition of the Busia Cross-Border Marathon kicked off with pomp and excitement at the Busia Polytechnic grounds, attracting youth from both Kenya and Uganda. Addressing the event was Principal Administrative Secretary in the Office of the President, Arthur Osia, who emphasized the critical role of sports in youth empowerment and national development.
Mchezo ni kitu ya maana sana katika jamii, ni kitu ya maana sana katika afya yako kama mtu binafsi. Na mimi nataka kuzidi kuhimiza vijana wachukue hizi nafasi zinapotokea kuhakikisha ya kwamba wanabaki wakiwa katika hali nzuri. Kwa sisi nahimiza vijana, tafadhali tutafute kitu ya kufanya, kama si hii iwe ile nyingine ambayo inaweka wewe katika afya sawa, inaweka wewe katika mafikira mzuri na jamii itakuwa salama.
Aramatha marathon organizer has cautioned youth along the Busia-Uganda border against engaging in drug abuse, highlighting the importance of overall fitness and wellness.
Vijana wetu wengi hapa mpakani ambao wanashiriki kwa madawa ya kulevya, na tunataka kuwahamasisha ili regulations za Kenya na za Uganda zipate kukuwa na uwiano ikikuja kwa mambo ya kuregulate mambo ya mihadarati, na above all maneno ya amani kati ya Kenya na Uganda, na biashara pia, economic empowerment and cross-border trade. Wale ambao hawaendi kukimbia Unaweza shiriki kwa kupata matibabu ya afya yako, kujua hali yako ya kiafya.
And in fact, we are very happy to participate the marathon Biashara, of which we know health is vital or paramount for our health. Free consultation that are medical and surgical.
Pray together, we eat together, we live together. So we are here to join you for this run to show unity and solidarity.
Kimbia kwetu nyumbani. Mara mingi tunaenda kukimbia kule nje, but at least this time round tunakimbia nyumbani. Ukicha hapo pia tukikimbia nyumbani tuna motivate wengine pia wakuje.
The marathon not only celebrated cross-border unity, but also served as a reminder of the untapped potential among youth in the region, ready to shine on the national and global stage through sports. Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
Now that is on our news update this morning. I mean, it has quite been informative and entertaining. If you were not entertained, then I guess you're just a sad person, because Kenyan news is just comedy on its own. Because you listen to leaders spill secrets about other leaders who are in the same, appear to be in the same team, but they're also spilling secrets of the same. And that's where they say politics is a dirty game. Now, from the news updates, we'll be taking a short break, but before the break, where we'll be coming back with the newspaper review, Kenyatta University has a Women Economic Empowerment Hub. It's called the KUTV Hub, and it's a hub that intends to bring policymakers together for the purpose of ensuring that it comes up with strategies or policies that favor women economically. The girl child has always been empowered, and that's also part of what Kenyatta University KUTV Hub does, is finding solutions or finding policies that work for women empowerment. Now we'll be taking a look at what happens at the KUTV Hub, just a number of stories at what happens there, and the projects they are having currently, the project that they are undertaking to ensure that women are included economically. They're given financial literacy lessons and everything to keep them on top of the game when it comes to business. We'll be taking a look at that, and after that we'll go for a break, then come back with the newspaper review.
The Tharaka Nithi County Government, in collaboration with universities led by Kenyatta University and Yale University, has released the initial findings of a study known as the Randomized Controlled Trial (RCT). This study sought to examine the ability of 3-year-old children to start school, giving their mothers an opportunity to engage in economic activities, especially farming, which is the backbone of the county's economy. The Kenya Bureau of Statistics (KNBS) has also been involved to ensure quality standards are maintained. According to the principal investigator, Professor Simon Onywere, the study is now in its second year and has involved about 60 schools out of the county's 454 institutions. It has received funding from various organizations, including the Gates Foundation.
You have two things that are happening: the child care curriculum intervention, and number two, the child assessment and matter survey. So you are doing something, or something is happening, and you need to find out whether it is causing a change. So there's a very different group that is doing that, and there's a very different group that is doing the intervention. And the group that is doing the intervention consists of early childhood experts, intervention supervisors, mentors, teachers, head teachers, who are playing a very critical role in administration, and especially in ensuring and supervising the activities that they are doing. And of course, the content and the requirements covers a broad range of things. I think we have tested some of them today. And of course, the teacher interaction is very important. The socio-emotional development is very important.
Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor Professor Washeke Wanjohi, represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Professor Caroline Thurua, emphasized the significance of this project in early childhood care and how Kenyatta University is committed to supporting it.
Kenyatta University has done a lot to enhance women economic empowerment, such as setting up a daycare center within the university to nurse babies of student mothers and young women working at Kenyatta University and the neighborhood. The daycare takes care of children aged 6 months to 3 years. It has trained caregivers and a medical nurse who looks after the children in case of illness. The daycare is closer to KU Health Unit in case of any emergency. Further, at Kenyatta University, through the Kenyatta University Academy, 3-year-olds are admitted to playgroup within the pre-primary school.
The approach was to do evaluative research on programs, come up with the gender disaggregated data, develop policy briefs, and then work with policymakers for uptake of these policies. That is the approach of all 14 projects. For this RCT, we had to get the information from the livelihood. We also anchored the livelihood project in Tharaka Nithi.
According to the study's findings, 3-year-old children have shown cognitive development that enables them to start school early, allowing their mothers to focus on economic activities that improve family livelihoods.
Essentially, the idea is that if you have a group of schools and you randomly pick some to be part of the intervention and some to be part of the control, there shouldn't be any systematic difference between them. So the only difference between them, if it's completely random and not picked by area and not picked by quality of the school, the idea is that when you implement the intervention, whatever you measure as the outcomes, that is attributable to the program and not for any other characteristics that the school might have.
What was coming out of it? At least our children to some level demonstrated the ability to listen, comprehend, and respond appropriately, which are very important skills required for the child to participate actively in the class setting, learning and comprehending, even the 3-year-old, because you can see like the mean percentage of the 3-year-old is around 61. They can be able to follow instructions.
This is the first initiative of its kind in Kenya's public schools, particularly in rural areas. It was developed in response to the need for mothers to resume their economic activities soon after childbirth while ensuring their children receive proper care.
We wanted to know whether the women have a bargaining power. And there are a few things we looked at. Purchasing food. Who purchases food in the house? Anasema ni mimi. Kweli ni wewe? Anasema ni mimi. We recorded it. And we found out from this that in 10 of the items we considered, purchasing clothes, sales, choosing which items we need in the house, child education and so on, in all of those, in the 10 items considered, more women made final decisions in 5 items. And which are they? Chakula, nguo, afya ya watoto.
The idea originated from the establishment of a world-class childcare center at Chuka Market, where mothers could bring their children and leave them under the care of trained caregivers while they continued with their businesses. Following the success of this initiative, Kenyatta University, in its mission to empower women economically, partnered with the Tharaka Nithi County government to extend the program beyond the market by integrating it into the Early Childhood Development Education (ECDE) curriculum. Through this program, 3-year-old children are enrolled in school and taught by specially trained caregivers.
We advocate for increased investment in pre-primary infrastructure, including classrooms and child-friendly learning materials, capacity building for early childhood educators to ensure quality teaching and care, sensitization campaigns to encourage parents to embrace early childhood education for their children. And to this end, Kenyatta University remains committed to working closely with all stakeholders to turn these recommendations into actionable policies that will create lasting change.
The universities involved in this research have used locally sourced materials to develop learning tools and teach children in their mother tongue. In Tharaka Nithi, where there are different dialects, children are taught in their respective dialects. This has helped increase school enrollment and improve economic conditions for families.
We allow children to interact with the materials as the other teacher coaches. Here children are able to learn skills, more skills like sharing. They share materials. They learn vocabularies because they talk as they interact with those materials.
That it is possible to have a 3-year-old child grasp educational concepts and retain them. We have seen that one practically in our schools. Because when these children came to our schools, we were the first to receive them. All these others are just getting information from us. So firstly, we were wondering how we would handle them because they used to cry and for their parents and so on. But with the materials that were exposed to them, they got used and everything went on well.
Basic education expert Sam Ngaruya from the Ministry of Education confirmed that the project has full government support and will be expanded to other regions in Kenya, as many parts of the country have similar conditions to Tharaka Nithi.
At the basic education, we know learning begins at birth. Some studies say before birth, but we know also our mandate is at 4 years. So we are concerned with 3 things which I say you are addressing in this study. And that is, to what extent are our household able to prepare children to learn? At what level? At what is the readiness of these children as they start pre-primary 1 or they start grade 1? So our concerns in school readiness are 3 levels. The readiness of the learner to learn as they come to school. We are also concerned with the readiness of them to transition in the different levels, and we are also concerned with the readiness of our institutions to receive those children. So as you address those things, it's also good to look at that wider perspective.
The women in our county and in our country have been very pivotal drivers of economic growth, innovation, and sustainability. There would be more contributions, and their contributions span from both formal and informal sectors, often overcoming systemic barriers to deliver results in every part of our economy. Despite the turbulent changes that are fed by market dynamics, women's roles in our lives are irreplaceable. They are the engine of development, prepared by years of observing, nurturing, learning, adapting for such a time as this, where their participation in society continues to mold our future.
Tharaka Nithi Governor Muthomi Njuki praised this study, stating that his administration will invest heavily in basic education. He expressed confidence that this program will not only increase school enrollment but also lay a strong foundation for children's education as they progress through their studies.
We are happy that things are happening in 60 schools in the community out of the 454. That tells you that we have a big job ahead of us, that if we have to roll out what is working in 60 schools in 454, we need not just determination, we need prayers, we need resources, we need determination and beyond.
Additionally, the 60 caregivers trained under this program will be employed as the first batch of professionals to handle the growing number of children enrolling in school. Caroline Kimwele, KUTV, Tharaka Nithi County.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mokwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu mwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia.
They find it quite strange talking to you.
We should just make schools integrated.
Inclusive setups.
By providing the right facilities. Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka, akawa tuzo. Ukakamavu wake, ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke, akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari, kwa jinsi alivyo ngari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake, nami Caroline Kimweli.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground.
Fashion. It's more than just clothes. It's a statement, a feeling. An art form, a way to express yourself, a reflection of who you are. It's Fashion Diaries. Join me, Ashley Asachi, every Monday from 8 p.m. as we bring you Kenya's latest trends, emerging fashion designers, glamorous fashion events, runway shows, red carpet events, and so much more. Fashion Diaries, unleashing your inner fashionista.
All right, welcome back. This is Biashara Tuesday Rise today, and we've had quite a number of stories that were lined up for you. If you missed any of them, including, by the way, which you should not miss, that's a story actually, by the way. If you missed that, you can go back. What has been going on your screen is KU Hub, and that was Tharaka Nithi chapter where it brings policymakers together on projects that are meant to empower the women in the society economically. And that is what has been going on in your screen, just in case you were confused on what it is. And the reason why we have it here is because this is Biashara Tuesday, and our focus is empowering everyone, including everyone, in terms of how they're strengthened economically and how they better their lives in terms of how they manage their business. And now right here in studio, I am joined by the panelists who are here the gentlemen who are here to discuss about the state of the nation, and that is on newspaper review. And I'll begin from you, Juang. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Good morning.
And also Jeremiah, thank you so much for making time for us this morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. Now, before we get into the state of the nation, today I'm giving a chance for a brief introduction. I'll begin with you, Jeremiah.
So my name's Jeremiah Wiru. I'm a graduate. I just graduated like past 2 years. That is from Kenyatta University. I majored with in English literature. And upon graduation, I'm just a normal citizen trying to figure out life. Yes.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
You're not just a normal citizen. Let me tell you, you're Ruto's employer for a fact.
On the street.
Yeah, you are the employer of all these leaders in our country, and that's why we're having this discussion this morning, to hold them responsible, because we all collectively are their employers. Ojuang, a brief introduction.
I listened to Jeremiah Weru here. I see him as part of data or data, as Ruto would call it. This is another graduate. I'm supposed to think about vile nitampea 2K. Anichague nimwambie vile maisha itakuwa safi. 2 years ago ndo ali graduate. Around the same time, 2.5 years ago ndo the same people walikuwa wanaambiwa nikiweka Biblia chini kutakuwa na free internet. Nikiweka Biblia chini kutakuwa na mikopo, kutakuwa na kitu inaitwa hustler fund. Hustler fund is not si wewe hustler, kumbe wao ndo mahustler. Wewe ndo unawafund. But saizi things look the same. The more tunaendelea, kama haiko the same, basi inakuwa ndo mbaya zaidi. Because hapa hivi tuko na gold mine. That Wero is a star, he's a graduate from the best university in Kenya. On top of that, he's a rugby player. Huo mchezo ni wa watu ambao ukiushika unapepea zaidi nje ya Kenya. But he is here talking like a common mwananchi, because he feels he's a common mwananchi trying to figure out life. What are we telling watu wako primary mahali? When you wanasema one day, one time I'd like to go to a university and be the best in this country. He is among the best in this country. He's still trying to figure out life. Anyway, happy Easter.
I don't want to say System Near My Jambas. That is someone's song. Don't quote me. No.
At least haitakuweka kwa mata, because you reported.
I reported. Now, I want us to begin this day with the Standard. And if you look at all the newspapers this morning, they are giving tribute to Pope Francis. The late, I think it's early. It's not early enough to call him the late, but in most newspapers, that is the Standard, the Star, the Daily Nation, all talking about Pope Francis, given prominence on the front pages. Just a quick one before we get into our discussions on what is happening in our country. I'll begin with you, Weru.
Yes.
A quick tribute to Pope Francis.
First of all, maybe I'd like to pass my condolences to the Catholic community across the world. And of course, giving a brief history on his legacy, I think he was a man that was loved. He was so compassionate, especially when it comes to unity, and especially he confronted things head on. And we see that he actually faced opposition in equal measures, as he was as in equal measure. The other thing I can talk about him is he's a world icon. So many people emulate him. compared to the predecessors. And of course, he has left an indelible mark for what he was a climate justice champion. He advocated for climate resilient, and beyond that, we've seen that he have come to some disagreement with some of the head of states turning of the crisis that is ongoing in Gaza, the Ukraine, and also the illegal deportation of the immigrant in the US. So he was bold, and he was firm in his in what he executed. Yeah.
He did not. Okay,
he did not shy away from anything.
Sometimes I need to have filters because I don't we have very few leaders in our country right now who we can talk of them as leaders who really championed inclusivity, as leaders who are put forth. They describe our leadership as it is. They don't have should we say filters when describing our leaders. They tell them what is true. I think there are very few leaders in our country right now who we can talk that about them. And for Pope Francis, he was someone who would speak his mind, either to the political class, to the people involved, he would speak his mind. Now, Ojwang, to you.
It is not in our custom as Africans to talk ill of someone who has departed. In this case, I mean mtu amekufa. Nimesikia ukisema it's not late to call him the late. But him being the 226th Pope, Maze, he's among the few popes I've seen since I was born. I know of John Paul to Benedict XVI, and now him. And I can compare the other regimes and his regime and conclude that Pope Francis was a humble man. He came to Kenya at a time I knew myself. I loved how he interacted with the people of Kenya. Anashika mtoto, those kind of things zenye zikifika huko nje watu upenda. The popes wenye walikuwa wanakuja before yeye ama popa kizurura, kuna ile gari fulani yenye popa tokagi. But Pope Francis, yeye aliinteract hadi na hiyo kushika watoto, kuwa bless hapo hivyo kwa action and all those things. And he's someone who had a background. People are saying that he was an American, but we should not forget that familia yake ilitoka Italy. At a time when Benito Mussolini walikuwa wanawasumbua sana wakahepia US. So hakuwa ametoka US. Ni kama vile kuna Sunak Rishi ambaye alitoka Kenya, kwa na roots za Kenya, kwa pale hivyo amepanda ngazi UK. So bado tuwezi sema yeye ni alizaliwa ni Marekani. But the things he did in that country made him even a person of that country by any right. Hadi akipelekwa kwenda kuvai for Pope, alikuwa Marekani. Ameingia pale hivyo San Lorenzo. He was so active in matters football, local football pale hivyo. He was so active kwa mambo ya climate action vile anasema. Alikuwa nasukuma hizi zote akiwa firstborn. There's something with firstborns. Umetoka nchi yenyu, umepitia mashida, wenu wakadha. Unajua tutuboitu wakadha, tunazaga tukiwa tu altar boy, wanaga vitu mingi sana. And then umepata kitu ya kukupendeza. And in the year 2001, because of his achievements in the Southern American continent, Pope John Paul II made him a cardinal in 2001. And then he later on proceeded in his work to be the Pope in 2013. Na kutoka then amecreate memories mingi sana. Amekuwa honest kwa vitu zake zote. There was a time in 2013 aliuliza swali controversial sana. Now, wewe ni gay. Umekuja church. Unataka kuomba Mungu wako. Hauna intentions mbaya. Mbona ni kujudge? Such statements are controversial to us and to people who don't believe in LGBTQ community. But yeye alisema, it's about wewe, soul yako na Mungu wako. Can we not concentrate on hiyo ingine? There was a time hata Sauti Sol walikuwa wanasema the same, that we as a country should not be concerned with such topics about orgasm. We're supposed to be thinking about tutakula nini, watoto wetu watasoma aje, tutapata aje quality health care, nini ingine, ni umaskini, ujinga na ugonjwa. Hizo ndo vitu zinatusumbua sana. Pope yeye alikuwa bold enough kuongelelea these issues. Alikuwa bold enough kupea kina mama chance pale Vatican. And alikuwa mtu wa mgala muwe na haki umpe. He is the only pope nimewahi sikia akisema na vitu hapa hivi Rome hapa hivyo ukipewa mama leadership positions vitu zina change. Yet pale hivyo Vatican wa mama kwenda kufika pale hivyo kufanya kazi na kuaga ni adimu sana. You must be sister of sisters of all sisters ndo ufike pale hivyo. But yeye alikuwa na appreciate wote on the basis of kazi, on the basis of issues, but not being personal with anyone. Hakuwa ifanya kitu kama hiyo. For that, pia mimi namwambia vile standard wanasema, goodbye Pope. Beneval. Buriani, adios, tutamkumbuka manze. Tutamkumbuka mzae. You did a good job.
In all words, and every people is calling him.
All eyes are on Africa.
Yeah.
All eyes are on Africa. We are all rooting for our own from Ghana. Wetu wa kuduo ashinde for the very first time tuko na Mwafrika pale hivyo. So tunaomba Africa yote, the whole of Africa. Si mtu anafaa kuombewa mpaka kando yake iwake. Naongea na Kiswahili juu East Africa ni wengi sana. Tuombe sote mpaka washindwe. Hawa maombi yao kwani ni gani? For the very first time tuko active hapo hivyo kwa maombi ya kuombea Pope. Huyu wetu wa Ghana ingie. Watu wa Nigeria Super Eagles tuliona vitu wanafanyaga huko World Cup. Kuna kuwa mpaka na ego ni nini. Kuna vitu pale sitaki kuzitaja. But all those prayers zikuwe combined tukuwe na Pope kutoka Africa. Pope Francis aliset the record by kuonyeshana sio lazima ukuwe umetoka Italy ama Britain ndio wewe ukuwe Pope. Unaweza toka America. So saizi tuseme unaweza toka Africa na ukuwe Pope. Tutaomba sote mpaka Wakamba na Wakisii.
Na msiseme baba run for Pope.
Baba ashatoa mpaka poster, kuna kwingine ameandikiwa congratulations. But it's sipendi vile wa Kenya kuweka baba at the front of every conversation.
We joke too much about
it. We joke too much bana. Can we relax kiasi Kenyans?
Okay, now let's get to a little bit of politics and governance. I have smiled, Daddy. I'm feeling my jaws are tired. So, Ruto has embarked on a 5-day journey, state visit to China. And so many people will think that this visit is a visit that is going to bring the country loans. It's going to bring the country more debts. So, and the standard... let me just read what the standard is saying, and that's the headline is say Ruto takes Kenya's wish list to Beijing as trade winds shift. Remember, this is a time when the United States has issued tariffs. I think it's of 10% to countries importing or exporting to the United States, and it has created tensions among those suppliers or those trading with the United States. And at the same time, China on the other hand is opening its gates for investors, for traders. It has even given secrets of how business operates in terms of TikTok is the new Google. And I saw that there are people who are saying that there are a number of manufacturers in the United States who take goods which are almost finished from China and then take it to the United States and brand them. So they're affronting themselves as as the only ones who do quality production. And all this thing, when they go to the other countries, they're branded as made in the United States, made in Britain, but they're all coming from China. So this is something that is both, I don't know if I should call it timely, because there's quite a coincidence at a time when the United States is really policing its boundaries when it comes to trade and bringing this narrative of United States first. China is opening its doors, and this is the first visit. This is the first visit of the president to China, or any president to China, after Trump's of giving out these tariffs. This is the first time a president is heading to China, and we're expecting quite a lot, apart from having trade deals, coming out with money, because Standard is saying that the country is expecting money to complete various projects in the country. That is on page 11. Kenya's strategic bet to flirt with both the eagle and the dragon. I think that they mean both the United States and China.
Yes.
So it is something that everyone is keen on looking. We have had instances when the president gets out of the country, when he comes back, we have loans. And Kenyans have, I think they have every right to be worried. I'll begin with you, Juan. What is your feeling about this visit to China? I almost say to the United States, to China.
To the home of dragons, China. It is not a bad thing kwenda kukuja na mikopo. Thika Road ni juu ya mikopo. Tunafaa tukope, by the way, as a country, but for development purposes. We are yet to see single development since 2022, because 2023 ilianza na president akiwa airborne. Kuna watu walikuwa wanasema hadi kuna airborne disease. Anaishiji nje. Out of huko kuishi nje, hakuna bado barabara tuliwahi ambiwa hii ni main, hii ni kutoka kwa mkopo fulani, ama hii hospitali tumepata juu ya relationship yetu na watu fulani. It is good, our president should go to China, but why he is going there should be our problem. We should be asking the question we are asking right now. Ni sawa umeenda kutuletea nini? Kuenda kwake China or facing the east saizi ni good, it's a good thing. Remember tuko mahali tuna struggle na tariffs every now and then. President Trump has done this, President Trump has done that, President Trump USA. We have a lot of countries we can turn to for businesses and all that. China, saa hizi as umesema pale hivyo TikTok wana trend, because wana break the brokers barrier. Brokers wanakuwa wamekuwekea barrier fulani, ama watu wawili watatu wenye wanaweza fly to China. Wanaenda wananunua simu 500, wanakuja wanakuzia 50,000. China wanasema hapana. Can you allow us now to get into your market? It's a good thing. The complaints zenye zimekuwa pale hivyo China tukifanya kazi na wao ni on paper wa China ni wazuri sana. But ukiingia kwa farms mahali Chinese ndo wanaajiriana ama wako in position of power, wanatesa watu wetu sana. On the other hand, ukiingia mahali ofisi zinakontroliwa na watu kutoka US, hawateswi sana. Kuteswa sisi na US tunatesagwa na government yao directly, kitu tuna feel. Lakini wakikuja hapa kwa ground, si wao wanatutesa sana. Utapata wazungu tutesa sana ni Wajerumani, wa Britain, watu wenye bado ufeel wao ni wabeberu wetu. But in US, we have a country we can always run to. UK wanataka kutucolonize tena, tunakimbia hapo hivyo. But in terms of business and development of business and infrastructure, China has always been a better partner. I always say this because I've seen Thika Road without the superhighway, and I've seen Thika Road with the superhighway. The only place wametuangusha sana ni kwa expressway. Wa China walijenga, lakini bado ina crack aje, na wa China ndio wamejenga. Siri kama wangepewa hiyo contract ajenge. So the president should tell us, or should make all Kenyans aware ni nini inampeleka huko. Si hiyo mambo na state visit. State visit zimekuwa, wameleta state visit South Sudan siku 2-3, tunasikia Sudan wananyang'anywa legitimacy yake, na ilikuwa state visit. Tuko hapo hivyo katikati. Hemedti ndio hao wanatupigisha vita huko zenye hatuwezi nini. But wa Kenya wanafaa kuwa active on all this. Tusikasirike president ameenda mahali, tunafaa kujua anaenda kufanya nini. Kama haendi kufanya kitu, basi yakae hapa hivi, tumngojee aende mlima, aende coast.
Do you think there is a failure on the government's part in terms of communication and letting the people know what is actually going on?
Yes, there is failure in terms of communication. Utasikia next wametuma Alfred Mutua anatutafutia nafasi za kazi huko, but they will not come with absolute honesty ni kazi gani tunaitiwa huko. Itakuwa ni slavery, inakuwa sugar coated. A government that wants to succeed in any part of the world must be an honest government, must be a transparent government, especially when it's not delivering on development. tuambieni tu ukweli, mta cost nini? Si mko na baba. Unajua siku hizi tunaambia we can't do anything juu wako na baba. If mko na baba si basi mtuambie tu ukweli.
Okay. Now coming to Weru.
Yes.
What do you think about Ruto's visit to China and the implications it has for the country?
First of all, I feel like the President Ruto visit to China will be not of much value to Kenyans, especially because we've been being introduced to the previous visit where we've been told that when the president is going on the abroad for overseas to go and maybe to secure loans, we are not being able to see the value of the loans in terms of development, as my co-panelists have said. And the other thing, there's a lot of darkness surrounding all this, because I think there's supposed to be a sort of transparency, and Kenyans now, they have reached to a point where they need to be told by the government of the day whatever the step the president is going to take, because Kenyans feel that the president is now auctioneering the country to our masters. And the other thing is about, I saw that people talking about now is now shifting the darling from the US, now that Trump has introduced the tariffs to Kenya. And we've always shared a good relationship with China, in knowing that the project of the super highway, there's also the project that is also being discussed, that the president has gone there to secure some more loan to come and fund the Malava highway that is now being to be completed. There's also the SGR that need to be completed. But in all this, Kenya still have not gained the trust in whatever, and they feel that the debt ceiling is now still going higher and higher. And I don't know whether Kenyans should now, they need to be a wake-up call where Kenya should come forward and say that we need to have some sort of a commission. If not, because the president ought to report to the Kenyan, even maybe before he depart to go to the he's doing things for the willingness of the Kenyans. So he also has a responsibility to tell the Kenyans this to actually tell Kenyans this 1, 2, 3, this is what I'm willing to go. We are going to get this loan and come fund 1, 2 projects. You see, because right now, as where the country is, I think the Kenyans and the people in general have lost trust in the government. They also lost trust in the representative, who have now gone to bed with the government. They feel that they are there to get and to
give the cake.
Yeah, and not for the benefit of the Kenyans. And so I feel like the president or the government spokesperson need to come forward and actually tell Kenyans that this trip the president has embarked on this trip because of 1, 2, 3, and these are the issues. Because we've been told that we can't run away from the fact that Kenya is still at a crisis where we're still at a crisis where Kenya is still under. We still have borrowed and we have gone beyond our debt ceiling. You get? So I think there's a need for some explanation, so that maybe he can regain the trust, to the people.
But if I look at it on a positive side,
yes,
the economic tidings are shifting. The world economic tidings are shifting. Previously, the investments, or I'll say investments, most people were targeting the United States. But maybe, do you think that this visit is a way of opening our trade space, our market space to China, because we don't know what might come out of the visit. It's the first time a president is visiting China after the tariffs were announced by the United States president. So do you think this is a move, a positive move by the president actually, with Kenyans at heart, that if I go to this place, maybe I might have the procedures of getting to China isn't for them, the procedures of getting visas, the procedures of being allowed in the country generally. Maybe it can smoothen that for Kenyans who want to venture into businesses in China rather than United States, because maybe they may be having fair deals for Kenyans. Do you think that this might be for the better good of the country?
I don't think there's much that we can expect from this. On a positive side, that is, genuinely speaking, there's nothing much that we can. We clearly know the intent of the visit. Yeah, it's just a shifting of the. It's just shifting the allegiance now that Trump has now introduced the tariffs to Kenyans, and Ruto knows how to cut across the chessboard, and now he's now on China, and for me I don't think there's anything that is that much that will come out of this visit. Yeah.
Okay, but there is you said we know what this visit is about, but there is no communication so far on what the visit is about. So why not choose the positive side? Why not choose to be optimistic?
You see, okay, it's for our own good, but the loans and everything that is going to be anything that is the baggage of the goodies that we are going to get from China is for our own good. But you see, all this money is money that will end up maybe so far so good. President William Ruto ran on a manifesto that he is going to change the economy. We haven't seen anything tangible that we can identify with that say this is working, and this why he need to go and maybe get some more and maybe he can come and pump to the sum that is. You see, we have all the sectors of our economy that are working. They are not working right now. Yeah, and by that maybe someone can come to a conclusion. We don't see anything that is so much positive, because again, these loans, remember, we are the one will still be paying the loans. Yeah, and I guess it is high time now we expand our tax base, and we introduce some economic measures to our locally, so that we can actually encourage more people to come and maybe do business here, so that maybe we can be able to support and get to a zero-rated maybe economy, and rely less on the western side. Okay. Yeah.
Now, Zhuang, let me get to you. We are talking about the possibility of a positive outcome from Ruto's visit to China. Do you share the same sentiments?
That is what we should have. You are going to visit another country on our own behalf as Kenyans. Since it's called a state visit, we expect goodies. We don't expect you to go there and bring us some kind of Adani shady deals. We don't expect you to go to the great China and come and lie to us that we have 250 vacancies for jobs that like we had in Germany. Then the Germans tell us, no, we may be old or another generation, but we don't need you guys. In China, wamejaa. So, atu expect akuja tuambie, vijana, nyinyi mmegraduate 2 years ago, kuna nafasi za kazi China. Sasa, we expect bilateral ties that will ease in how we do business with China. China is now at a war whereby they are reclaiming all their intellectual property, so that tuache kuambiwa iPhone ni product ya US, yet those chips are made in China. It will be a good business for us, because wewe unaweza amka jiundia iPhone yako, siko na akili, na uchukue components zako from China na tuendelee mbele. That will be a good thing. That is what I can, if ingekuwa ni mtu mwingine naulizwa let's say nani amewahi enda nje akatuletea vitu tamu? Sijaona. That's why siwezi sema ati ataenda atuletee. I'm just talking about what he should do or what our president should bring, but not what he will bring or what he aje. Kwani ni vitu ngapi ametuahidi? Ngapi tumeona kwa hizo zenye ametuahidi? Yeah. Kitu chenye ametuahidi na tumeona ni ile ya mimi si mwenda wazimu. Hiyo tumeona every time lazima aanze kukiwa na crisis, lazima aanze na hiyo quote. Ikifika mahali you have to explain to us that mimi si mwenda wazimu, mimi si mlevi, then there is something wrong with you. Because why is it that every time tunaona wewe either ni mwenda wazimu ama wewe ni mlevi? Na wewe badala utuonyeshe kazi yako kila time ni kujitetea, unatuambia mimi si mwenda wazimu, mimi si mlevi, najua chenye nafanya. So as a youth of this country, I trust that our president si mwenda wazimu, our president si mlevi, anajua chenye anafanya. Atatuletea vitu vizuri.
So this time round you're positive?
Mimi nimeishi kuwa positive juu sijaitegemea yeye sana vile atatusaidia.
No, we are talking about this visits.
Nimekuambia if we had a president who cares about Kenyans, and if he cares about Kenyans, those are the things he should bring to us. Hizi zingine zenye tunaenda na atuambiwi chenye tunaletewa, ni jua kituambia ni nini, maybe kuna uoga wa before dia fike huko tutakuwa tushasema hapana.
Mrudishe huyo mtu hapa.
Mrudisheni hapa. Kama hizo ndio deals aenda kutupigia huko tusikia tuna airport tena.
All right. There is a story I also wanted us to look at. It's still on Standard. That is on page 13. Where on page 13, that is a story by Alexander, that what Ruto will likely do to win Kenyans' confidence and votes in 2027. President William Ruto's spile about inheriting empty coffers rings hollow. It could, however, provide the pathway to his re-election in 2027. So Alexander has given steps or what Ruto can do to win Kenyans' hearts in 2027. And let's just talk about what Ruto said himself. He said that his scorecard is on what he's doing, and he knows how to get re-elected in office. And one of the things he said that it's service delivery. He promised good health, he promised the road connectivity, he promised a good education system, and this he mentions SHA. He mentioned that if given time, it will definitely work. The new funding model, if given time, he also says it has hitches, yes, but it will finally work. He promised to conclude the construction of all stalled roads in the country under his regime that he has mentioned. So he's basically having an idea of what he should do. And also the fact that he says the country was left with debts, and that is a fact. Inherited a country that had debts, and he's promising to counter that. Because if we listen to his CS, Treasury CS Mbadi says that the country is not planning on further borrowing, external borrowing, but rather doing internal borrowing and bonds within the country to stabilize the economy, and gave a really good impression about our economy. So do you agree that, do you agree with Alexander? I'll begin with you, Juan. Do you agree with Alexander that Ruto has a chance of winning Kenyans back? And if he has a chance, in your own words, what do you think Ruto can do or will do to win Kenyans' hearts back?
This is Kenya, and our problem has always been the mindset and how to change the mindset of people of Kenya. President Ruto, mchokwanza niongeleshe wa Kenya. President Ruto has been here before. Sisi kama tumekuwa hapa, sisi vijana tumekuwa hapa hivi in 2007 and 2005. In 2005, the then president, the late Emilio Mwai Kibaki, alikuwa kwa njia panda sana. Alikuwa ametupembaka chance ya kuleta katiba yetu, na akaiweka pale hivyo referendum. Wenye wanataka hiyo katiba wanapiga kura kwa ndizi, banana. Na wale ambao hawataki hiyo katiba wanapiga kura kwa chungwa, orange. That's how ODM was birthed. And that's how the phrase a banana country was birthed. That then President Kibaki alikuwa na run hii nchi like a banana republic. But in 2007, he was still sworn in again as president. So who's saying that it is President Ruto now mwenye alikuwa kwa kambi ya kupiga Mwai Kibaki in 2005 and in 2007 juu alikuwa ODM. In 1992 another president alikuwa kwa the same njia panda, the late President Moi. Wakenya walikuwa wamechoka na yeye kiplani alikuwa amechoka na sisi kabisa. And then he still had his rungu ya Moi and he wanted to show us power. So he went to parliament and declared the repeal of section 2A of our constitution that allowed us to have multi-party politics again. So tukatoka from era ya KANU to kila mtu kama uko na chama chako tukutane kwa debe, na akawa promise. He went for the youth under the YK92. Na kama kuna watu wanachukia Ruto kuliko vijana, ni hao baby boomers wenye by then ndo walikuwa vijana. Mtu kama Orengo time yenye alikuwa kijana hapo hivyo akisukuma NDP ya baba yake 1997 hadi akishinda vice chair, akishinda Raila Odinga, alimshinda. Then ikaendelea hivyo 1999 2000 hapo hivyo bado Raila Odinga akashindwa na Michael kijana wa Malo, ndo akasema hey, kwa hii party atakaa ni baba yangu enyewe ni cast I make, akatoka. So in 1992 YK92 being formed by the likes of Jirongo and the then KANU youth William Ruto. Hapo hivyo hata hakuwa anajita Dr. Bill, hakuwa anajua mambo ya bill, hakuwa analipa eni. Alikuwa by the way na girlfriend wa KU by then 1992. Yeye alimanage kurudisha a president back kwa kiti. President alikuwa amechukiwa. And he feels he has the experience. That is why he has the guts za kusema I've been an MP, I've been a DP, I've been a president, zote mkiniambiaga siwezi. Hii yenye nishashika kuachilia ndio itakuwa rahisi. So ameamua that I don't need to be head of government, I just need to be president. Yeye anataka tu kuwa president hata kama ni jina flower boy ya kuwa natuma huko China nini, but hapa chini ameachia nani? Baba. In 2027 anajua kuna tukura twake tudogo na akona tukura fulani twa baba. Na uto tukura twa baba tumeanza kuwaka, anahofia atatu lose. That is why they are contemplating so much on impeaching Siaya governor James Orengo. And Orengo amekwamilia ili kwa ile point yake ya hata kama sifanyi kazi ya development hapa kwa watu wetu, at least bado niko kwa watu wetu. Vijana na wao wamekasirika sana. Wanasema hapana baba, you have been our father, but wewe una to be treasured. Wewe ndio uko na njaa kutuliko. Always unataka ukayapo hivyo yet tunaona hakuna mahali unaenda. Since the broad-based government was initiated again in accordance to the NADCO report of 2023, let's talk about developments zenye tumeona hii nchi. Hakuna. In fact, the bad guy John Mbadi anasema hapana, saizi vile kuko hatutawatax, hatutaboro. So, kwa hii finance bill ya huu mwaka, what are you telling me you want to expect? We are expecting torture. They will combine forces. They will torture us in the name of tuko na baba. Kwani nyinyi wa Kenya wa kawaida time mnalia mnapeleka kilio chenyu wapi? Baba tusaidie, uliza Ruto hii, si ndio? Na Ruto ndiye ako na baba. Wa Kenya bado wataendelea kulilia huyo baba. Wa Kenya can turn around and Ruto akose kuingia hiyo 2027. But if status quo zitabaki vile ziko saa hii, walai bilai can cheat can die, Ruto atawai. Let's talk about scorecard yenye anasema ndio itamuongelelea. Amebakisha 2.5 years. Ndio tani 2 years. Yeah. People like Wakili Willy Otieno anasema ya kwamba by 2026 August tunafaa kuwa na election. General elections should be held in the 5th year, not after 5 years. So tunafaa kuwa na election next year. But ikiko hivyo yeye ataingia. Kwa nini? Let's look at the top candidates. Maraga anapendwa sana. He's a worker. Ametoka SDA na ni Mkisii coming from minority. All good things. Si ndio? Maraga amesimama saidi ya watu by kuambia IEBC, wacheni kubeba wa Kenya ufala, ebu endeni mrudie huo uchaguzi tena. That was not an election that you did out there. That was in 2017. Watu wa baba wanakuwaga na machungu na hiyo story. Juu ili stamp kabisa that baba hata hawezi fanya anything, hata hakurudi hiyo debe. Yeye alingojea wamalize, aingie 2018, a disrupt hapa hivi Kenya, alete chaos na akaingia kwa handshake. Sisi wengine tunabaki tukiumia tukiwa kwa mataa. Next person, Okia Omtata. Okia Omtata kwanza tunapata kazi ngumu sana ya kumkampenia huko nje. Watu wamelipwa na Ruto, watu kama kina Edgar Wabwire huko hivyo. Kazi yao ni kusema ati huyu Omtata hata kwao haizi pata senator tena. And the question is, we're talking about the same guy who has been an activist sijui since when, since I knew activism ni nini, and he won a senatorial seat in an ODM background in 2017 as an independent candidate. We loved him then, we love him now. Watu kama sisi wenye tumetoka hizi sides za Nairobi, we have never voted for him. So for the very first time, we have a call ya kumvotia. For the very first time wanasema watashikana na Maraga. It's a good ticket. Ticket yenye Wakenya sisi bado ndo tunasema ati haina nguvu kwa ground. Ticket yenye iko na nguvu kwa ground iko na madoadoa ya Super CS Matiang'i. Bado iko na madoadoa yenye Ruto ako nayo. In the year 2017 ndo tulipata mili Rivayala 40 bodies or so. Sawa? Hicho kitu hakitawahi toka kwa maisha ya Wakenya. Wakenya hawataki kujua vile 2016 alishika the education department ya hapa nchi yetu, time yenye ilikuwa imetumiwa vibaya na mtu mpaka akaambiwa uko na mchezo sana wewe Amina, can you go to sports department? Ambassador akatupa huko, yeye akapewa education, akaimarisha 2016. Watu wakasema hiyo ni cloud ndo ameshika kazi. 2017 he did the same. And when former president Uhuru Kenyatta called him to another office, yeye alimake sure ametafuta another guy. Alikufa na tutaishi kumkumbuka kama the greatest academicians Kenya has ever had. Professor Magoha. So as a super CS, this guy has delivered. This guy has delivered to a point yenye Ruto alikuwa anamuogopa, anasema huyo ndo kwa DP yeye aliondolewa. As a super CS, he has shown us as a country that he can work. But the elites of this country are worried of what he can do akishika power. I've interacted even with youths from Kisii Place. People who are learned, people who have gone to great schools. Na wananiambia, for that very reason, hatarudi. Kama hiyo ndo reason pekee, haitafanya Matiang'i ya kuwe president, then Ruto anaweza shinda. Kama reason yake sisi ya kukosa kumpe presidency ni the things zenye amefanya kutoka 2022 up to now. Because he can change. From now, aendelee hivyo aseme, okay, mmesema ni kuwa president. Acheni nipige show, kwani what will I lose? Umeshika, na afanye kazi. Na aingie huko waseme tumefanya kazi. Na sisi bado hatujapata the right candidate. But there is hope. It's still 2025. We are talking about those horses. Hatujafika mahali pa kutengeneza coalitions.
So is your problem the president not working that you don't want to get him back to office, or is your problem him as a personality?
Him as a personality. If it's about working, I would go for Matiang'i any day. Any day. Because he's an SDA. Hiyo time tulirusha nini na akachange. So he can change. Ni vile power inamlewesha, inaonekana inamlewesha. Sisi kama wananchi, we can change that. We just need a president who is working. Tukashika super CS, tushikie nchi. Tukashika mtu kama Maraga, atuambie, wewe si ni Mkenya, si umeteseka sana. Naweza kuwa sina nguvu ya kuleta hizi pesa hapa hivi, but nyinyi wa Kenya mko na pesa. You just need me niwatengeneze a business environment that has reduced corruption, a business environment that has reduced greed, a business environment that has equal opportunities for all, a business environment that favors the brains, the energy, the charisma from the youth of this country, because we are productive. Tuache kuhepia Qatar.
Okay.
Juu Qatar wametukataa.
Very much in order. Now coming back to you, Eru. Do you believe that the president has a chance of winning the 2027 election? And if he does have a chance, what do you think are going to be his go-to strategy, and the go-to strategies and the do's and don'ts that he will do to win Kenyans back?
Personally, I think the president does not stand any chance to get to power in 2027. This basically, he'll be judged on the manifesto, and if he have delivered according to the 4 pillars or the 4 cardinal points that he wanted to underscore, one of them being the health sector. We have seen that this health sector, he has come and he has actually, there's all manner of ill things that is happening within that sector. Right now we have a CS who has been appointed to that particular docket, who does not have the requisite skills, knowledge, or experience to head that docket. Yeah. The other thing we will be talking about is the education sector. We were using the old. I myself have come to the university, being funded by the Higher Loans Board, but we've seen that according to the statistics that have just been released by the KUPS just the other day, that actually almost 300 and something thousand people, students who successively have actually attained the grade of going to join campus, have not opted to go to the technical courses. You get? That's because that tells you, because of the health, the education sector, how it has been maybe handled by those who are in that sector. You get? It's not working. You get? The students there have been placed in bands. They don't know where they belong. There's no articulate process. There's no good process to actually to identify those needy students. So they will end up leaving the needy student to those who are in possession of. I know someone in the office. I know you get. So the other thing that Ruto came with is the narrative of uplifting the common person. Those people, the mama mbogas, the people, the mkokoteni guys. These people, if you happen to go to those guys, they will tell you they even don't wish to see President Ruto on TV, because they have been pushed so hard, such that many of them have opted actually, even the small businesses that were working, they are no longer working. Many of them have been rendered jobless. So there's a lot of things that is not working as he promised when he was coming into power. If there's at least we could say that there were, apart from what we hear from the that there was money was their money was stolen just the time that he was actually being inaugurated to office. There's a lot of right now, between now to the remaining time, that is 2 years and a half. I don't think unless he have to do some magical, I don't think there's anything that he can do to have a turnaround of the economy, because everything have gone to the south. There's nothing that is working. You get? Anything? Something else? Maybe we can look into on this issue of the do's that he need to do. We already seen that right now he's now coming forth to implement the NADCO report, that is the agreement between the ODM, that is Azimio, and the Kenya Kwanza. And these people, whatever they are interested in is to center power between themselves. Mr. Ruto have now tested the goodness of being being the position of supreme, and now he want to acquire more resources, more money as he can. You see, it's almost like he's going to auctioneer our country. So for me, I don't feel like there's any magical that he can do now. Right now, we can talk about the constituents, the electorate, that is the people, the voters. They have now been sensitized. They know what they need to do. of course there's a lot of civic education that is taking place. We have seen that some youths have come to volunteer just to maybe to get to the group that is this same what is it called, the
barazas and
like of those old people who actually come to the election period. They're likely to be swayed by in terms of the drip that they'll get in terms of money, and then they are being influenced maybe to vote for a certain candidate. We've seen that now. The youth themselves, they have come out and they have taken the initiative by themselves, you see, to actually to go to the community, go to the public, and of course they have come up with a lot of organization that actually to put in of the president to checks, telling him to maybe to talk to Kenyans. And actually, yeah, there's a lot that is happening. But for me, I don't think there's anything that can happen between now and 2027. But of course, there's something that we can't underlook. Is now the president is now making the IBC, the construction of IBC commissioners. It has been it is timely. It has been like it's something like they have envisioned on the time that you wanted. They needed to do this so that maybe there's something that some forces that is under there that they need to actually to fix their guys there. And that's why according to the constitution, there's timeline on when those commissioner needed to be in office, so that they'll have a sufficient time to go through everything, even the audit and everything, and to be familiar with whatever they are going to, and the logistics and the technical aspect of everything that body requires. But we see that they don't have time. But it was planned. It's something that was planned by the president, so that come to this time, now we have been blindfolded. We can't be able to see. You get and this is the only hope that the president can now cling on.
So according to you, if the president wins, that will be maybe by rigging the elections? Definitely, it's open. Can you substantiate that?
I can, because now you see the equation of bringing first of all, the equation of integrating the opposition with the government on saying that we are not on broad-based. We need the opposition to be on the opposition so that they can keep the government on check. Remember that the time that the government need to be vibrant, and we also need like all these queries that we hear, that now the overnight millionaires, everything that the stealing that is happening within the country, it is because that we don't have the opposition in place. And even those people who are terming themselves as the opposition, they don't have the influence and the capacity they can. You see, now, I don't think there's any magical thing that will happen between now and then, because now it's now a narrative. It's now a narrative that have been sent across that we need now to get, and of course we are so familiar by this. Is it a slogan that people are saying that as long anyone who will be put against as a competitor against Ruto will win, be it the devil, the people, they don't care the devil who that person will be, as long as they don't see President Ruto get. There's also some sentiments which have been going rounds at this from the maybe from the how people can be able to evaluate and maybe to project things, that it's possible that President Ruto might be impeached, and the threshold that, and also the process that is required. And this is basically on what we have seen from the two guys that have actually recently been fired. That is the former Attorney General and also the former Vice President. They terming him as someone who is corrupt and someone who have some sort of not having a sane mind, and also having a double personality, and he has a lot of interest in some projects. That is, especially the case that was just the issue that we just the Adan deal. All these things that have been playing in the political spectrum.
You have quite a number of narratives, which if you were to put you on task to explain them, maybe you'd end up
I need to back my narrative by facts, though.
You'd end up in a Subaru to explain where you got that information, explain better. Now, our time is really not on our side, but just to give our viewers what they can also look at on the Star. Star has two headlines or two front pages. The first one is of Pop, and the second one is about the return of big money harambes, and this is where officials give huge contribution to build God's house. And there's also that is on page 4 and 5 of the Star. You can also follow that there is Wandai, my plan to switch things up in energy sector. And in the recent days we've had so many cases of energy plants or situations where gas are being offloaded to unauthorized places that are not having safety guidelines, and the CS is also saying is to switch things up in the energy sector. So let's hope things are going to be shifted, not just in terms of shares and everything, but also in terms of regulations and ensuring safety. And also we have GSU officer who shot bar attendant loses appeal. That's also a story on page 3 of the Star. And Miracle, lost son reunites with family after 14 years. Those are just the headlines on the Star. And to my panelists here on studio, I'll just love a quick outro in less than a minute. Ojwang, this is specifically for you. In less than a minute. There is quite a number of allegations. And sometimes I tend to think that as Kenyans, we speak without having facts in check. We give opinions on the rulings and everything that is happening in the country based on emotions. As a person, Ojwang, do you feel that if we were to change this perspective and get to fact-finding before we get to making decisions, or we get to generally having a perception of the government, that will make our leaders more accountable? Because if we point out something, we point it with facts. Like, for example, you promise a hospital worth 10 billion. The hospital that is here, if we do the calculations and everything, this hospital is worth 2 billion. Where did the 8 billion go to? Do you think that if we are, as Kenyans, if we are having facts in our arguments, we'll be having leaders more accountable than right now, when we just accuse them based on our emotions and how we feel they should react?
When we become a fully educated country, we will never debate on whether we need to be having facts or so that we can defend whatever we are doing. We'll stop talking about whether we should be having facts so that we can trace accountability and put someone accountable on things he promised, things she promised and did not deliver. So it's a challenge that I'm challenging everyone in this country to be more engaged in civic education. Wewe Sylvia, ukitoka hapa uingie mashinani, please let those people who never got access to education get to understand the constitution, get to understand the roles of each and every office we have in this country. Sometimes unasikiaga watu wanapiga MCA juu ya barabara yenye mbunge ndo wako responsible. And watu wako kwa gava hukulia kutojua kwetu. Na Mungu pia alisema mahali kwa Biblia, my people perish due to lack of knowledge. So we fail to get this knowledge. We fail to put these leaders to task on accountability and responsibility. And we say, ngoja amalize aende. The next person mwenye anakuja, hakuja tupate tayari tuko empowered with this civic education or knowledge. Anakuja tupate the same, a gullible country, a country that they called country of fools. Hawa viongozi tuona tukiwa mafala sana. And until that time, sisi tutaelewa katiba yetu vizuri. Hiyo time ndo utaelewa. Even the president is not above the constitution. You have the power and mandate since the Constitution of Kenya 2010 gives you all the sovereign power. Hakuna tukiejua hizi vitu zote hatutakuwa tukiongea kuhusu facts, because we will always be having facts. We are supposed to always have facts. Tumekuwa waoga na ni juu hatujui. Kama hawa Wakenya wangekuwa wanaelewa sheria, wangekuwa wanaelewa rights zao, wangekuwa wanaelewa responsibilities zao, wangekuwa wanaelewa roles za kila ofisi, hatungekuwa tunaumia. Sisi kama Wakenya tungekuwa tunakaa mahali tunasema hapana. General Kahariri anatuambiaje kuhusu defending government of the day? Kwani nani decide government of the day? It is us the people. Na wewe ukiwa general CDF, hakuna mahali unafaa kuinterfere na politics zetu. Jeshi kwa lugha nyingine ya kindani ndani ni mtu wako caste. You are a leader, yes, but you are a caste, you can't be a leader. Kitambo kwa places kama Game of Thrones, nao mabastards ndio walikuwa wanajipata huko na makesi mangori mingi, unatupo wapi? Night's Watch. Go protect us. Uko ndo wanajeshi wetu ukua. That is why kuna time yenye ulikuwa unaambiwa, if you are a good sportsman like Weru, ingia jeshi, serve us. It was supposed to be like a punishment to them. They are supposed to protect us, not in our borders, but around our borders. There is nowhere a president is supposed to call on the KDF or army ati wanakam kukwele mambo. By the time KDF inafika Nairobi, hatuna president. Hatuna president. But hatujui. Wewe mwenye unajua, what is your role wewe kama kijana? Make sure hii katiba tu, usifunze wenzako kitu kingine. Katiba tu. Wewe ulifanikiwa, Kibaki akapata chance ya kukuambia uende usome. Mwingine amefanikiwa anapata chance ya kusema hapana, mmesoma sana. In fact math mnaweza kataa. Kataeni basi. Hakuna math. Nini nyingine inawasumbua sana kwa masomo ni higher education loans board. Hiyo toa. Waekee kwa band waimbe wenye wataweza.
It's fine.
So tukue sisi wenyewe watu ambao wako willing kusoma na kuweka hizo facts kwa meza na kufunza wengine. Asante.
Okay, I'm hoping all of us tumesikia hiyo sauti ya kengele kimekirizwa. So in less than a minute, kindly Weru,
yes.
I'd like you to give us your final remark on the same and what could have been better if we had facts before making judgments.
First of all, what I can challenge that you think that we have perception and when you say that you're talking about the citizen having a perception toward maybe the government or their leaders. I don't think what we get is the perception is created. They get this perception develop to what they are being introduced to. You get? And coming to your question about the fact, it's a fact that most of the Kenyans today, they are not familiar with the Constitution. You don't know any article that protect you. You don't know any article that tells you this how to go if we have a rogue leader who is taking us to this direction. You see, so I think for me, I think more it's more of I would request the citizen to get more familiar with first of all to get more familiar with the Constitution, yeah, and also it's an aspect of decolonizing your mind. You get. By that, you also need to be at tips with the development, with what is happening around you. You get, yeah. So and also to request the citizen, they need also to be actively involved in their development, not passive. We see that they are always comes to be active during the time of campaigns. Those are the time that you will see that they are engaging their leaders. They want, I don't know what they're doing with that. Yeah. So and of course those people we have held to be on the helm of what we on the position of leadership, be it the position of what maybe you are in the sector of you're being accountable of this thing. When we confront you, I can't confront you with something that I don't know. I can only confront you with the side that you have exposed me to. That's why I think Kenyans, they are not foolish as per se. People would like to, there's something they know, even if they don't the whole thing, the gist of everything. There's something they know. That's where they can come. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is very much in order. So the take from this show, this morning newspaper review, is as a citizen of this country, make sure you know a thing or two in your constitution. Make sure you follow up on your development projects with your area member of parliament, with your member of county assembly, with your senator, with your governor, and everyone who is responsible for you, because in as much as we hate politics, it is what drives our day-to-day lives. It is what determines the price of unga. It is what determines the price of bread. It is what determines how your child studies, where he or she studies, is the what determines the type of hospital you're going to and the amount of money you're going to pay for that health service, whether it's quality, whether it's not quality. It's what determines what kind of teacher you'll have for your child, either in campus, either in primary school, whether in ECD, is what determines the attitude of that person who is responsible for your child. Because, anyone who is paid well will always be motivated to work, but anyone who is not paid well will definitely have no interest in what they're doing. So in as much as you hate politics, make sure you understand everything that brings out politics. We are heading to 2027. Make sure as a youth you have your vote to determine who is your next leader. And above all, in this country, don't be gullible. That is Biashara Tuesday. Thank you so much, Ojwang Mariam, for making time for us this morning. And Uweru Jeremiah, thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time for us this morning. Until next time, bye.
Anasema rumba kweli nina nafanya makusudi kushinda chuki zao, tena wanafiki bado nakula nao, na hainipi shida riziki ya watoi wao. Ex wangu anatamani niachike, nifubaya niishe nidhalilike, adui zangu wanatamani wanizike, nimechoka mbaya na mwisho nifilisi.